Another question that I hear often is how do I know that I can trust the Bible? Can I trust the Bible? So let me give you some ways of thinking about this, and I'm going to keep it condensed and you can dig into each area a little bit more. But I want to first lay out that the Bible has historical accuracy. It has internal consistency, and it's relevant to my life and my experience. Okay, I heard a teacher many years ago kind of frame it that way. So first off, when you look at the Bible and you compare it to history, there's so much that lines up. Things that maybe in the past people thought, well, it says this in the Bible, but this didn't happen. All of a sudden, historians discover something. Archaeologists discover something that confirm and affirm the history of the Bible. Years ago, there was this question about, did Pontius Pilate even exist? And then one day, an archaeological dig is uncovering various things, and they uncover this plaque that basically says, Pontius Pilate, governor or prefect. So yes, Pontius Pilate existed. Here's proof of it outside of the Bible, but the Bible lines up with history. Now that's the historical evidence. The internal consistency, think about this. The Bible's written over 1,400 years, 40 plus authors, 66 books, a variety of languages, a variety of different people from different socioeconomic statuses, background, locations, and all the story points to Jesus, this arc of God's redemptive work of what he's doing in the world, the nation of Israel being his chosen people, the culmination being the work of Christ on the cross, and then God establishing his church in the world. There is an internal consistency throughout the Bible that all comes together, and it's rooted in the person of Jesus. And then the question of experiential relevance. Is this book relevant to my life? Well, I find that the Bible describes the world and me accurately. It says there's beauty and there's brokenness. There's wonder and joy and there's sin and there's sadness, right? So I see the Bible describing situations accurately, and when I apply the scripture to my life, I find that I live it out, life works. It makes more sense. I can just take the book of Proverbs and live that out and see that my life starts to line up with reality more. And then when I also see that serving and caring and loving for others, it does something in me that resonates with my soul. So there's experiential relevance. It's relevant to my life. Now we can even hone in on one particular area. Let me give you some examples. The resurrection of Jesus. Is that historically accurate? Was that the central theme of Scripture? Is it tied together within the whole story of Scripture? Does the cross and does the resurrection, is that a central piece? It is, because it's about the life, death, and ultimately resurrection of Jesus. That's the story of the Bible. So here's some examples for you. If Jesus is still in the grave, when the disciples claim that he's alive, all the Roman authorities have to do is go open the grave, take the body out and say, here he is. But they didn't do that. Some people say, well, maybe the disciples overpowered the Roman guards. First of all, I would say that's not within their character or their nature. And then secondly, these are not well-trained soldiers that they could overpower a Roman guard. And so that's unlikely that happened. Here's another thing. You have women discovering Jesus after the resurrection. Within the cultural context, that would have never been the way you'd make up a story. That would be embarrassing to the men who were followers of Jesus. And yet, that's what's described because that's what truly happened. How about this? How about the idea that after Jesus is resurrected, the disciples are willing to die for their belief in the resurrection? If you're making something up and then someone says, we're going to kill you unless you admit that actually Jesus didn't come back from the dead, and you know it's all a scam, it's all a lie, you'd say, okay, don't kill me, it's all fake, I'm embarrassed, but at least I'm alive. But they didn't do that. The apostles all ultimately died for their faith. Is that something you do when you know it's a lie? Unlikely. So you start putting those pieces together and you go, yeah, there is something profound to this story of Jesus. When you add all those factors together, you start to see the Bible is truly a reliable resource.